Hey, welcome to the Rick Elf's Real Estate Show with our Arizona news today. And we do this every week. I'm Rick McCone with eXp Realty with Jackie and Ruby with Century 21 Arizona Foothills. Pat McMasters with Price Mortgage. Happy Thursday, everybody.
How you doing?
And back
This,
to you.
this is the traveling edition. I've got the Hampton Inn in Sholo, Arizona is letting me use their, I could have 600 people in here. I'm in a big conference room.
Wow.
Big round table with a laptop set up and ready to rock and roll. So it's
I thought you were in Payson.
no, I'm in Sholo.
Oh, okay.
And, so my Wi-Fi setup and my data setup in my RV is not strong enough to do a stream. So otherwise, the whole stream would be so. So we don't want to do that to people.
I know I've been missing your morning shows.
Yeah. We're just going to have to get back to it next week or so. But been an interesting week. And I'm going to show you some numbers in that it doesn't feel like it's really moving. Our listings are still 16,700, and at this time last week we were 16,600. So this flood of mortgages coming on, I want to touch on that for just a moment because
I think I said that.
yeah, proof is in the pudding, and I got a video coming out on that I thought would launch last night, but it didn't. But take a look at this, and that is, it's our 7-day moving average, and sales went down from 2,700 homes under contract to 2,500, but listings dipped as well. But then I kind of sucked some numbers out of the side over here. It's probably hard to see, but in this total of 16,744, 1,880 are new construction, and 2,000 are iBuyers trying to unload their homes. Airbnbs, I'm estimating about 75. Flippers, people that are, bought the home, want to get rid of it, have to remodel it, it's about 900. And so that only leaves 11,889 on owner-occupied units. So where is the flood of sellers panicking and trying to put their home on the market? And I get comments that people say, well, I'm seeing a lot more for sale signs on my street. Well, 2 is a lot more than last year. So
True.
And we're seeing, though, that the listers are getting the message. They're down to 2021 levels when it comes to their average list price per square foot. That happened a little faster than I thought it would.
Plus, hey, Rick, can I ask you a question about that, though?
Uh-huh.
So is that based off the median list price?
Average list price, not median.
Okay.
Yeah, because median can kind of mess you up a little bit.
Right.
So here's the listing success rate, though, 76 pretty soon. And I think I saw a video out there the other day that, and Cromford said that means that 1 in 3 listings are not going to sell. They're not successful. I'm getting a lot of people, I want to talk about it when we're through this quick segment, asking me, what do I do? I've had it on the market for 8 days and only had 1 showing, and I'm getting a lot of that. So Pat, what the heck is going on in lending? Because it's every bit as stagnant as what we're seeing in listings this week.
Yeah, I mean, rates have had a good day today. The 30-year 4.5 coupon is up 56 bips, which is that's a great day on the market. The 10-year Treasury is down 13 basis points to 290. So you can see right here. I mean, this is the last 6 months. We spiked on the 10-year up to about 350. Now we're kind of basing here, and I think there's obviously the Philly Fed said that there's several components that came in the lowest since pre-pandemic, and we've got the Fed meeting next week. So there's a quiet period right now in the Fed, so they can't say anything. But it's rates have settled down. I mean, when we saw this spike up to around the 350 on the 10-year Treasury, I mean, we saw some lenders probably in the low 6s, mid 6% range, maybe even high 6s, to be honest with you. But right now I'm looking at a rates 5 1/4, 5 3/8. They settle back down. On a 30-year
I read
fix.
something, I can't remember if it was Bloomberg or Forbes, saying that the market is basically saying that there's no need for a 100 basis point kick this month.
Yeah, there's going to be, it's going to be an interesting tug and pull between inflation and recession, because I talked to my buddy who's a very successful businessman. He's got a president of a company, a chip company. It's like a sweet potato chip. He says this economy is going to start grinding to a halt. He's seen it on the wholesale side on his end. He's a pretty smart guy, but there's going to be that tug and pull between inflation and recession, and I think we're going to see obviously how it all tails out. And this is what the market, obviously, with the rates this is what the market's telling. They're just kind of waiting and seeing. And if they do, I still think they're going to have to put bullets in the gun so that they can lower rates eventually. Next 6 to 12 months down the road.
Well, we're seeing, so you and I talked a little bit about these, not so much adjustable rate mortgages, but rate buy downs. And a couple things you said are very interesting to me. And one is that a lot of what we call the major banks that have higher rates are using that rate buy down because they're already kind of starting out high. So they're giving you the opportunity to buy it down. And for a lot of viewers, it's confusing because we say things like, oh, it's a 3-2-1 or it's a 2-1 or it's a 1-1. And the bottom line is there's adjustable rates that are 3 years, 2 years, and then 1 year they adjust. But one of the things that you said that stuck out to me was, if you're already starting out at a lower rate, like what you can find through your as a broker, there's still an opportunity for a 30-year buy down that a seller can use to contribute at closing costs for a buyer to bring the rate down even farther for the entire term, because that's the pinch point that the buyer is feeling right now. It's not so much the price of the home, and they're waiting for you to lower the price of that house, but they're waiting for you to lower the price because they want a lower payment. So does it make sense to offer an incentive as a seller to say, and open this up to the group to say, I'm willing to contribute X amount of dollars to help lower your payment for the entire 30 years?
Oh yeah. I mean, the numbers definitely prove it, that just reducing a house by $10,000 or $15,000, if somebody's going to reduce a house by say $15,000, it definitely pays to say, hey, we're going to keep it the same price. We'll contribute $15,000 to the buyer, because like in this scenario that I pulled up last night for this gentleman, rates were in, like, say, the 5 3/8, 5.5 range. Like, I'll just give you an example. Today, 5.5, I can give a credit of $1,500, or let's just say 5 3/8. It'd be a cost of $1,000. Your payment's $2,772. But with $14,000, you can get down to 4.5, and your payment goes down by about, let's see here, 20. Bear with me here a second. Should have had this. We'll go down to $264 a month.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so if you're considering lowering the price of your home, maybe you kind of want to meet them halfway and say, I'm going to lower the price this much, and I'm going to offer credit, because the other thing, remember, you're still going to have appraisal number you got to hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
well, and the thing of it is the buyers can't qualify. A lot of buyers can't qualify in that 500 and below. They need to be at the 300,000 to 400,000, and that's so hard to find right now. So buying down their interest rate allows them to be able to qualify for that little bit higher priced home.
Yep.
I agree. That's a good move. Well,
hey, really, I want to jump in real quick. Can I jump in real quick?
Okay.
I just want to the 2-1 buy down, the 3-2-1 buy down, those are still 30-year fixed, but they use that money to, it's not adjustable rate arm. It's still a 30-year fix, but basically they start your rate at 4.5, and then the next year goes to 5.5, and then 6.5. Whereas a permanent buy down is still a 30-year fix. But if you do a permanent buy down, you can go from 5.5 down to 4.5, and it just stays there. It doesn't move in the second or third year. So
yeah, and
that's
I prefer those.
Yep. So I just want to clarify that.
That sounds good. Well, so ladies, now Jackie, you probably don't count because you spent the week in California, but since you've been back, and Ruby, you've been out there killing it. So is the slowdown that we're seeing in these numbers, do you feel it?
I don't feel like we're feeling it. Maybe a little bit on the buyer side, but we both have buyers. But we have 5 new listings coming on over the next week or two. So we're we're still getting contacted by those sellers, and we're still out there pounding the pavement.
How would you describe those people listing? Why are they listing?
Go ahead, Jax.
There's a variety of reasons, and I want to touch back too on the buy side as well here in a second. But I see no panic whatsoever. Either sellers are, we've got a couple that are selling and then buying another house just because of life changes. And then we do have some fix and flips that are coming on the market. Actually, one just went active today, another one coming up. So I'm not seeing any panic whatsoever. The conversations that I'm having with sellers, it's just a normal need that you would see in a normal market. I think what I'm seeing personally the most, and that's why I asked you earlier, Rick, about was that the median list price, because it appears for the listings I'm seeing that the luxury end, except for seasonal areas, for instance, Cave Creek always slows down. Carefree always slows down. There's parts of Scottsdale always slows down. There's certain types of markets, like the horse market, always slows down at this time of year. But the majority of the listings that I'm seeing is very heavy-ended on the 500 and below side. And I think a lot of that still is either Airbnbs, new builds, or people with second homes. And they're just like, okay, well, we might have missed the peak. There is some nervousness with sellers, saying we don't know what's coming right now. And that's where they need a good educated agent to kind of guide them. But I think it's really heavy ended on the 500 and below. That's what I'm seeing.
And I think we talked about a listing ceiling, but so you got a couple of forces out there. Like Pat said, it's looking like the economy is going to be really bad. I mean, it's going to slow down. And that's actually why rates are not going up, because every day there's more data coming out saying that we're in big trouble economically. So does that make you want to hurry up and sell your house? Probably not, because you got a fixed rate. You want to stay put. How many people have a rate below 3%, Pat, in this country?
There's like 30 million below 4, 31 million below 4, like 26, 27 million below 3.5 and below.
Yeah, so they're not moving unless they lose their job and they have to sell, but they probably would get roommates or have somebody move in and help them with the payment, but they won't give that up. So it's looking more and more like real estate's. I agree with Zuber that transactions are going to crash, and they already have. We're at 2,400 today. Good Lord. I mean, for a 7-day moving average. So transactions are down. But do you guys think we're just going to kind of muddle along in this?
Yeah.
Not a big peak of people rushing to sell their house and nobody in a hurry to buy one. Just
Yeah, absolutely.
I said that in January.
A need as is need basis. What's fitting their need.
And the upper end just seems to be moving along like a normal market.
Well, and then the other thing, and Pat and I discussed this yesterday too as well, but when we're trying to analyze the market where we're at right now, we've never seen a situation like this where we had rates as low as they were ever.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden they've spiked up, 2%, almost 3%. What do we have to go back and look at historically where we can say, well, the last time this happened, this is what happened to housing? And there's nothing out there.
No.
Right.
We
had that 1%. We had that 1% jump in 2018 where things kind of condensed and slowed down a little bit for a short period of time. And then it just picked right back up again.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be more prolonged because the economy was recovering in 2018. The Fed thought it was recovering too fast, so they wanted to clamp it down. So the markets revolted and said, no, it's not too fast. Leave it alone. But
yeah,
that's why
absolutely.
In the room here. What do you think, Pat?
What's that?
I said, let's go to the economist in the room here. What do you think?
Yeah,
Pat?
no, I think the biggest elephant in the room is the fact that 30 million, 31 million people, we never had that period in ever, that we had about a 2-year period where people could get a 2.5. I mean, I remember there's a guy that got 1.99 30-year fixed.
Wow.
1.99.
He's not moving.
I mean, he's not moving. He is not going anywhere. So I'm sorry, but if you get 31 million people that are 4% or lower, or I said 26, 27 million, 3.5. I bet you if you surveyed 5,000 people, I bet you 4,995 of them say we're not moving. We're good. We're good to go. So I'm telling you, that's a big sticking point with me. And I just think that's why you're not seeing the home velocity. Back in the old days, if rates were if we get to a point where we get rates come back down and there's an equilibrium, now there's such a gap between where people are and where rates are that gap is, until that gap, I think, gets down to where if rates come back down to say a low 3, then you're going to have that velocity again. Like, okay, we can get a 3.5% mortgage. So that's a big sticking point with me. I think that's what's constricting the supply.
Well, I
Absolutely.
think, yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to watch because, you've got these components that say, well, I'm waiting for a crash, and I'm not seeing any evidence of anything to wait for. And then people that are waiting for house prices to come down, you really need to look, and I stress you to use that calculator that we provided that says, well, how far down do prices need to go to where you have an interest? Mm-hmm. Because there's something about saying, well, now it's $85,000 less. I'm in. When are you in?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're sitting back and waiting, what are you waiting for? So if it's an $85,000 price reduction versus maybe a rate buy down, what's the trigger you really want to pull? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think it would be great if Pat could actually do a show where he just shows examples of the numbers. Because I think if you've got a good agent and they're being educated by a great lender on those type of programs, I mean, it's that whole saying, marry the rate, not the house.
Yeah.
And
but I think the opportunity for buyers now sellers are going to be willing to contribute that. And that's why I'm really advocating the rate buy down. Not that I want buyers to have to come up with more money. I'm saying, look, you got sellers out there now. Like one gentleman called me this week and was saying, well, I'm probably going to lower my price $40,000. And I said, well, why don't you lower it 20 and then kick in another 20 to buy the rate down? Mm-hmm. Start thinking like a buyer. Mm-hmm. The buyer doesn't want to pay that rate. They don't want to pay that payment. Mm-hmm. But wait, if you're offering to lower their payment, that's better than a price increase. Because if you go down 40,000, so did your neighbor, right?
It'd be interesting to have Ruby and Jackie, the people that you've done deals for the last 2 years, to go back. I don't know what the number is, but go back and see what their rate is, and see how many people are just sitting tight. Do a survey amongst your old clients.
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, we call 40 people. What rate are you at? Okay, I'm at 2.5. Just it'd be interesting to say we called 30 people, and now those 30 people, 26 of them said they're not moving anywhere. I mean, just got to be kind of a fun little. I mean, I don't know. It's just But,
the people that bought in 2018-19, they refied, so they're down there too.
I know, and that's why I think it's a glaring point.
Well, 2 weeks don't make a trend, and I'm seeing that number kind of flatten out and go down a little bit. The National Association of Realtors came out with the June numbers, and it's, they're showing how bad June was. So now we wait and we see if that's really going to impact the market. But I think the general public is not in the dark as much as they used to be during cycles. They know what's going on. They can tell, and they can see what's going on in this market. So I don't think that's going to be quite as huge a catalyst as some people say it is, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I plan to be back next week, so I probably won't be up in the mountains hiding behind trees. So we will see everybody then. Take care.
All right.
Bye. Take care.